This video is a brief outline on how I develop more advanced mechanics, including the planning, debugging, testing and optimizing/finalizing code stages. This is just my personal workflow to give an idea on one way such mechanics can be made, so it is best to only use this video as a guideline, then adapt to find your own way that suits you best. The first step is finding and deciding on a mechanic to create. In my case, I was making a Parker project, so I was looking at more related mechanics to make using the ones I had currently. Since I had just finished doing wall running and wall related mechanics, I got the idea to do an advanced wall climbing system. You can also search online for videos to get new ideas for mechanics. In most cases, however, you are already in the progress of making a game which you have already planned out, so you will already have a list of mechanics to create. It is also a good idea to read up on some articles on game mechanics prior to starting if you want some professional insight on how to develop and what to avoid. The next step is really important, and that is getting inspiration. I find the best way is to first find videos of how a similar or the same mechanic has already been implemented. This gives you an idea on how others have already done it. You don't have to look up ones made in the same engine you are using only, as we are just looking at the final result for now. Then I also usually look up similar mechanics done in actual video games. For wall climbing, the most popular one seemed to be from Legend of Zelda, so I looked at videos of them. I found this one great video from New Frame Plus which really went into the specifics of the Zelda one. Another game I used for a reference point was Shadow of the Colossus, which I think does it the best and most unique. I also looked briefly at the Spider-Man games as they feature wall climbing. Next is planning and outlining the mechanic. Now that I have examples and reference points on how the mechanic has been done before, I usually plan out the major features I want to develop. I mostly try to add a unique element to it so it isn't just a copy or the same as many other games as well. For example, for my wall run mechanic I decided to add a grip timer mechanic which I came up with on my own to make it more unique. You don't have to come up with your own unique mechanic for everything, however, so don't worry too much about this. For example, here are a few mechanics I made which mostly copied from other games without much of my own twist. At this stage I usually compile the parts I liked from the inspiration and add it to my own ideas I initially had for the mechanic. For example, for this retro combat video I tried to make a fluid combat system similar to the game Ben 10 Protector of Earth. But to ensure it wasn't an exact copy, I only used the look of it as the major reference point. The way it feels when playing is not that similar. To plan, I list down the features I need to make for the mechanic so I can keep track of what to add and what I've added. In a professional environment, you will be encouraged, or in most cases required, to write extensive documentation for the planning, but this video is more for indie developers who can work at their own pace and styles. For the next stage we can finally start coding. The first iteration of the code can be really rough. You can try out different ways to complete something. Here I have 4 input keys for WASD and a branch that checks wall climbing. Then I have an enhanced movement input to check the same thing. Nothing has to be final for now, as we are just prototyping and trying to get the major features to work. Here I have added code not in the most optimized way but in the quickest way, just to see if this route works. I find it easier to not add too many functions or macros at this stage so that I can collapse all the necessary nodes later. However, here is an example of a function I did use, as I knew that function should only perform this particular task. This next stage is essential, which is debugging. You need to thoroughly debug your projects to ensure there are no bugs before completion. The main way I debug to find any errors and ensure something is working correctly is to use print strings. To pinpoint any details, I also add an input key to slow the time dilation down. Currently, there is an issue with the hand IK while climbing to top. To check if the issue is the alpha value, I am going to print it in event tick. This keeps me informed of its value at all times. You can change the duration to 0 so the print string is only shown once in tick. The value is being set to 0 as the climb to top starts, so I know the issue is with something else. Here I found a fix immediately by setting wall climbing to false here, but you will often run into bugs that will take longer to fix, as I often do, but it is a natural part of game development. Print strings can also be used as a sort of breakpoint to keep track of something. I came across this bug later which prevented me from climbing to top. I figured this was an issue caused by a branch condition, so I printed strings at the paths of these branches that don't run to see which one caused the bug. It was not being printed this time, so I added it to different branches until I found the one causing the issue. I finally found the branch which was returning false when it shouldn't have, so I changed the condition of it to prevent this error off camera. Here I add new code to fix this issue after having found the bug. For the traces, I set the draw debug type to for 1 frame or for duration to actually see the trace while developing. The rest I added off camera. There are obviously other ways of testing for errors, as print strings are just one way. Other ways include using the blueprint debugger, call-in editor, logs and eject camera for some examples. This official documentation for Unreal Engine covers many other ways in extensive detail, which I will link in the description below if you want to read through it. The next key point is on trying different methods. You should always try different methods of doing something if you know multiple, so that way you can find the best way. Here I am replacing the condition to use in range nodes to see if it fixes an issue. Here I test different values until one works, and also I note down any bugs so I can come back to them later if needed. After trying different conditions, I found one that works perfectly for limiting wall climb movement. Here is another example of how I did the same feature in 2 different ways for a different mechanic, which was for a dodging system. The first one had a lot more nodes that was unnecessarily checking elapsed seconds for spam prevention, while the second one simply checked an enum. Next is testing extremes. This is essentially when you thoroughly try to find any bugs by testing the extremes of a feature. For example, here I am trying to check if there are any bugs with the wall climb movement. It works fine here, but to test the extreme, I move up this surface which cuts off due to the angle. You should test it in different scenarios, as here the hand IK started to glitch even though it didn't for the previous similarly cutting off surface. Again, once I find bugs, I note them down so I can check it off once I fix it, or if I want to come back to it later instead. There are different types of testing for industry standard game testing, such as the ones shown in this article. I will link this in the description as well. The next concept is messy code. While coding the initial feature and testing with blueprints, I don't worry too much about making it clean and organized in terms of good programming standards. This is because I am trying to prototype it as fast as possible, so it will often involve many revamps, so it will be a waste of time to keep organizing it. Also, I will often do less optimized code in preference if it means quicker development, but only to test if something works at first. This is a personal preference, however, so you can code it how you like. You can see the code here looks like spaghetti, and there are also unused nodes which I haven't removed yet. Another key point is that it is fine to use code that isn't the best performance-wise for quicker development. An example is I was using a temporary second skeletal mesh to find the IK positions for wall climbing. So this mesh only needs to exist while the player is wall climbing. Instead, to test it quicker, I just added the temporary mesh by default to the blueprint and worked from that. Here is the progress of the wall climb mechanic after around 4 to 5 days. During this time, I focused mainly on two major features for it, which was vertical movement and the hand IK. I wanted to make sure both were perfect and bug-free before I moved on to the other features such as horizontal movement. You can see there is a lot of print strings and visible traces active as I was constantly testing it. The next step is fixing bad or unoptimized code. Once most or all the features are added, I go through and rewrite code that is rough. Any code that was written in an unoptimized way to prioritize faster development is now rewritten to use the best possible approach I can think of, keeping readability, functionality and performance in mind. In this example, I am replacing the temporary mesh to now only spawn when wall climbing starts. I do this for all instances of code that isn't programmed in the most efficient way. Next is cleaning up the code. This is the most important step before finalizing it. Currently I added almost all the code in the main event graph instead of using functions and macros where they typically would be. This was to make sure everything was laid out first as explained earlier. This stage now involves collapsing code to functions and macros, adding appropriate inputs and outputs to them to make the system as modular as possible so that values can be fine-tuned easily. Here I made a new function to multiply the actor vector in a given direction by a given amount, as it was code that was being repeated multiple times throughout. I also try to make the graph look neater, so I add reroute nodes to organize the flow. I am collapsing to macros when there needs to be exec pin outputs or if there is an incompatible node to make it into a function. The main target for the stage is to make the graph as readable as possible while making it look neat and incorporating the most efficient programming methods for them. After you go through the entire code, make sure to test it again, as you might have made a change to the code itself, so there may be new errors to fix. If you need to add new additions, it will also be easier now since the code is all cleaned up. Here is the final progress after 8 days. I kept the print strings and debugs just for video showcase purposes. To test all the details, I have a lot of objects around the map such as slanted walls and cylinders. This particular wall climbing mechanic is available as a tutorial on my channel, which I will link in the description and on screen if you want to check it out. That is all for this video on how to make mechanics, particularly for Unreal Engine blueprints. If you are using written code, for example C++ in Unreal or C# in Unity, the process will be very different, especially as it is more traditionally written code, and in professional development it requires a more documented and systematic approach, although again, if you are an indie dev, you can always work to your own liking, while still following good programming practices. That is all for this video. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.